One morning I woke up early. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, and so I got up because I didn't want to wake him up in a major anxiety, and I don't have anxiety attacks. And waited for a while, and then I said to Kim, we need to go, because we were meeting Braden that day.
We drove to Braden's house, and we walked in the front door, and his dog Rio was there, and
going crazy.
He was just frantic, and usually if Braden's not there, he's gone with his dog Rio. So I started running around. I went out to the backyard, and I just let the dog out, and I was looking around, so I thought, well, let's go and see if his car's there. But I ran out and saw that his car was there, and I looked in the garage, and I saw the light was on. So I opened the door, and I thought I saw a mannequin hanging, because it just didn't look real. So that was the day that our lives and our families' lives changed forever.
So in the beginning, phoning God and everybody, saying we need to make some changes, and how did this happen? How did this happen to our boy? And even then saying to him, we're coming. You need to get ready, because we're coming. And we had no idea, believe me, on what we're coming meant and what we were coming with, but we knew we were.
Thumbs Up Foundation's mission is advocating positive change for mental health. Thumbs Up has helped my family in a very, very big way. And I'm just grateful for you, Kim.
We're just tremendously, tremendously honored and grateful to be here to help create awareness in why we need to change things in terms of mental health and addiction. Because we're losing the battle at this point in time, and the pandemic is certainly not helping. The trajectory of suicide in the province and across the country is going like this. It's the #1 preventable death. I'm going to say that again. It's the #1 preventable death. 50% of adults who identified with having a mental health or an addiction problem within the past year, 50% of them reported that their needs were not being met or were being inadequately met. So that's what the Harmonized Health Project is creating a new model. We're going to change the system. And if we can change the system, we're going to change the world.
It's really key to having a healthy community is having really quality mental health practitioners, people to support people. As you know, through your work with Thumbs Up, it's something we're lacking.
We've been living a double standard of health, and we've been investing in physical health, and we have been dismissing the significance of mental health and well-being. I would love to see the language shifting from every year we should be getting a physical and a mental health wellness check. But in order to do that, We have to train our healthcare practitioners on how to do that. 1 in 5 Canadians, this is a worldwide phenomenon. We need to have trained professionals to deal with this issue that is affecting, I would venture to guess, every family in Canada, whether directly or indirectly, within their workplace, within their friendships, within their families. So I would just love to see mental health and wellness being a part of healthcare.
If you take the current model, somebody will maybe go and see a specialist or a physician, and they'll have varying types of diagnosis from here, take these pills, to, hey, come and see me or I want you to see a psychologist in a week's time, or more likely a few months' time because of waiting lists and so on. But in any case, there's another thing to do before you go see a professional. What happens to those people in between times? Are they just looking at the calendar every day, waiting for the next appointment with a professional? That's not very helpful.
It was such a shock. And when you're losing people like Braden Titus, not that every suicide isn't significant, but because, you know, it felt so short from the time that he kind of was realizing that there was something wasn't right until he was gone.
Mental health is a central part of health, because without mental health there is no health. I've seen in my lifetime where physicians have been forced into choosing a specialty very early in their career, which creates this siloed system where specialists often operate in isolation, especially those specialists that have been trained primarily in hospitals. They don't have much of a community connection.
And when you come together as a community, you mitigate silos. And we do know that within addiction and mental health, there's many silos. And within what happens with silos is that you have competing models, you have shifting languages. And for me, if the practitioners can't get on the same page, what are families and individuals experiencing when they're trying to get help?
We all know doctors fall back on, okay, well, let's try a different medication. Let's try a different medication. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. And it can't be all on clinicians. Clinicians can't do it all. They cannot physically, mentally, or emotionally cover it all. The work for maintaining this needs to be spread out.
Because it impacts the whole family. When someone in the family is dealing with mental health, addictions, or struggles, it affects the whole family. But the family has to realize too that there's pieces of them that they need to work on as well. Myself, I had to work on a lot of my own stuff in my life, and communication was our breakdown in our family. And that's what we had to change.
Now it's important for everybody to knock down those silos that they maybe live in, to say we need to embrace a new way of doing things. And the government needs to learn that. And whether it's provincially, municipally, federally, if there's a better way to do it and break down those silos, then we have to make it. We have to be a leader in those areas.
If the system had been different, if the approach to mental health and addiction would have been different, then people's outcomes can be very different. And that didn't take us very long to figure out.
And I thought, because he had his mom and his dad and his dog, and we weren't going anywhere, that we could last 3 weeks, until we found out that we couldn't. What? You're opening the door for me? When's that ever happened? Yeah, so we're on our way to Strike Group's office to be presented with their fundraising efforts as a result of the 50-50 raffle that they ran internally through their Strike, ITS and TC Energy. to, in support of Thumbs Up. So they wanted to present us with their very successful fundraising effort, which stemmed from Carrie Ann being a part of a harmonized health client. And so it's just the whole kind of ripple effect that, you know, one person making positive changes in their journey just creates a whole positive change ripple effect all around them. And we're really, really grateful for them and what they're doing on our behalf as a result of. So we really hold Carrie in very high regard because of her journey, but also how she's kind of paying it forward as well. So, but that's a big part of it. Is that's what awareness does, is that people don't know what to ask for because they don't even know it exists. And so that's, the more we talk about it, the more opportunity there is to create awareness on every level. Thank you. Thank you to all of you for who you are, really, and what you do, because we are tremendously grateful.
In a perfect world, mental health and wellness would be something that would be totally integrated into society.
Professionals and non-professionals in the community need to be more working together in an integrated and seamless fashion. And at the heart of it, that is really what harmonised health is about. Comprehensive assessments are fine, absolutely necessary in order that proper diagnosis can be made, that the individual's given the amount of respect and time to actually talk about what's going on. But, you know, we're interested in harmonised health around, you know, how do people get into that comprehensive assessment process in the first place? And there are lots of reasons why people are finding it difficult. They can be financial, they can be born from fear, they can be born through a lack of knowledge and understanding of what's going on with them and others like them.
Okay, so we built it here, so we can help you build it over there. Wherever over there is whether the over there is Lethbridge or Moncton, New Brunswick, wherever it is, we can help you build it.
Harmonized health is absolutely essential right now. A client shouldn't be the one having to figure out what hoops they have to jump through to get the help that they need. We're the care providers. We can do the system navigating. We just want somebody to recognize that they can't do this on their own, stick their hand up and go, I need help. If that's all we get from our clients, that's great. That's where harmonized health is going to shine, because all we want is for people to make that admission and say, I can't do this on my own. Where do I go? And if they have a safe place to land, we'll do the navigating. We'll be the ones that will help connect the dots and figure out who are they going to benefit from seeing. And as we grow this model and demonstrate its efficacy, we're going to complement the existing healthcare system and minimize and mitigate all those gaps that are currently in our system. That's really the strength of the harmonized health model, is the system navigating and finding all the appropriate services for wherever people are stuck.
And that's the part, is they don't know where to go. And this is what I really appreciate in what we're doing, in the sense of now there is a place to come to. And people want to talk to lived experience. They want to know and understand how to get through these difficult times. And the family piece has been ignored in that. There is, it's mentioned there is family, but if you don't get to the core of the family work or the family dynamics, nothing changes.
The vision behind Harmonized Health is to have a one-stop shop, non-siloed approach to healthcare delivery. It doesn't matter what people need, it doesn't matter where they're stuck. If they come in struggling with addiction, we have an organization that will do the comprehensive assessments. If they're struggling with families and not knowing how to communicate and needing that ongoing family peer support, we now have that. And if it is the individual, the deep stuff, the one-on-one counseling, therapy that needs to be happening.
You know, when an individual's getting the help, and then at the same time they're offered the family support and help and get that help, and then they can get counseling, and then they can get peer support, all of that in one area to help them to get that saves a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and there's so much of it, and we are about the people. The people tell us whether we're doing a good job. It's nobody else is telling us, but they tell us whether we're doing the job, and that's what's key. And that's what we keep focused on, is the person that's in front of us and how we help them and really listen and understand where they're at.
Carrie Ann, I call her Carrie Ann, others call her Carrie, I just hold her in the highest regard. We've not met face to face, but we've certainly had lots of conversations through either texting or phone conversations, and we're going to meet her later today. But I just hold her in such high regard because she really took all the opportunities provided through the Harmonized Health model and just seized the moment and made it her own, and really is just in such a much better place. Her words, not mine, and she just has a tremendous amount of gratitude for the whole Harmonized Health model. She sent a text the other day saying, the thanks goes to you. I can't believe all the changes in my life you have made such an impact, not just on me, but to everyone who is close to me and beyond. I can't wait to see my angel in person. And to which I said, your angel? I don't often get accused of that, but looking forward to meeting you too. And so, yeah, it'll be good we've met on screen briefly through our mental health first aid training, but we haven't kind of physically met. And I'm really, it's a bit of a peculiarity to me is to feel us, just because there's just a whole gamut of emotions and just so much, it's hard to fathom how much pride and connection and regard you have for someone that you've not met physically. You know, it's just a kind of, which is maybe one of the other peculiarities of a pandemic, because I'm sure if it hadn't been for a pandemic, we would have met face to face prior to this. Yeah, I am nervous to meet her.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
So I made you a gift that I've been doing for some reason. I don't know how I ended up being like this, but it's a box. Wow. When I asked you what your favorite colors were, this was why. Wow. I thought, oh, she's probably expecting flowers. Like she's not gonna get them. Because it takes so long, but it's a little tough there, but it's wow, you can just put whatever you'd like in it.
Oh wow.
And I made it by hand. Everything's made, and there's a note on the back for you.
Wow.
Lifetimes of all I'd said, 40 million minutes that we'll never understand. I don't want to spend too much time on things that I don't care about. When everything's okay, is everything fine?
I have lived with addictions for 42 years. The best way it was explained to me is as a whack-a-mole. I knock one down and one pops up. So I have multiple addictions, and healthy to unhealthy, probably from something as innocent as exercising to an opioid addiction, and all in between. And that's just the way my life's been, and I've always been functional, I guess, from what not a lot of people didn't know, but I don't know how I got away with it for that long. I've been to rehab, inpatient rehab 3 times, and then I've been hospitalized twice for suicide attempts. The last time I did it, I woke up and my mom was standing over me, but I was so mad. So mad that I woke up. But I can't imagine what it did to her. It's hard for me where I'm sitting now to feeling that again, but then it's hard when you're feeling like that to imagine to be able to feel like this. So, but yeah, when I talk to you, I couldn't imagine what that did to my mom.
It doesn't take the pain away. It transfers it to someone else.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the ugly part of suicide.
I knew I needed to see a doctor, and because I'm not really a self-caretaker of myself, I wasn't happy with things were going, and I said to Dr. Rezenkopf, I'm like, you need to help me figure out, you gotta tell me if I'm bipolar or ADHD. I'm like, you guys, I don't want to do a second half of life like this. I do not want to do a second half of life. It's hard it's hard to think that, oh man, I thought like that. But I remember being in that stage, and the journey's so hard to get to this. Sometimes it's just, you feel like you don't have the time. The Harmonized Health process is a community and a network. It's not like you go to one office, get your appointment, and it's the same routine. This is hitting you from all angles. You have people with addictions starting groups, starting our own groups, people just coming together, just to help all of us. Having Al on our group, on our peer, he's I barely know him, but I love listening to him. He's like the rock. He's like the dad of the group. So it's but from all levels of profession, we have Dr. Rez and you, and then Troy and Sue, everybody's so different and comes almost different approach, but the same. So I guess it's that. It's not just, oh, I gotta go see a therapist once a week. The same. And then you can decide what you like the best. Today is 112 days of being sober and clean, and that's how many days it took to finally meet you. Because ultimately, I don't think if you would have called that day, I think I would have just carried on with life the way it was. Just learning how everything's meant for, everything happens for a reason, and you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And just learning all that at that particular time, I can see the stars lining up from way back, even from my name being just Carrie Ann, because
And I told you that the other day, right? And these guys don't know that, but that back in the day, before I was married, and I've been married a long time, I had a daughter and gave her up for adoption, and I called her Carrie Ann, right? And so that's what I said. She was like, I know others call you Carrie, but I call you Carrie Ann, okay? And you'll always be Carrie Ann to me, right? Yeah, no, it was that too. It's just another validation that this is all happening for a reason.
Yeah, and everything that I've gone through throughout my whole life, like I almost starting to think that it was worth it just to get to this moment, because I feel like I gained a lot of knowledge that everybody should know. Like it should be widely available, and it's not.
We'll have results from all of this. That's going to make the difference. But that process, when we start integrating it, could be one piece at a time that's brought in. But I don't know that.
And it's all progressed, or from that day on, that in Kim's words, we got to save one life even. We got to save one life. One family's got to not experience this, and if we can do that, we've done something pretty good.